President of the University, Dr. Karsanbhai Patel, Director General, Mr. Ambubhai Patel, Trustees, Board of Governors, Deans of Faculties and Directors of Institutes, distinguished faculty, dear graduating students, guests, proud parents and relatives, media representatives, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the very kind and gracious invitation to be among you all, particularly among the young graduates on the occasion of your 14th Convocation, and I deem it a great privilege. On this solemn and joyous occasion, let me begin by offering my heartiest congratulations and very best wishes to all the graduating students and medal and prize winners who have persevered and succeeded and reached a major milestone in their academic pursuits. As you surge ahead in life, I exhort you to excel in all your future endeavors to fully realize your potential and aspirations and serve the country and the humanity through the attributes you have imbibed during your association with your alma mater. But be reminded that education does not end with a degree. Fashion yourself to be a lifelong learner and be inspired from Rabindranath Tagore's description of real purpose of education to shape your destiny. I quote Tagore. He said, "The highest education is that which does not merely give us information, but makes our life in harmony with all existence." I had the occasion to know about the vision of your institution and its accomplishments from your website, prospectus, and other material available to me. I note the diversity of your academic offerings, ranging from technology, pharmacy, management, law, and basic sciences, and the impressive infrastructure and facilities for teaching and research created by your university. I understand from many peers in the academic profession that Nirma University trains good undergraduates and postgraduates, and you are also striving to establish a firm footprint in the research arena. This is a good trajectory to follow, and with the encouragement and support of your visionary president, Shri Karsanbhai Patel, the trustees, and the leadership of your academic team, do continue your quest for a preeminent position among the higher education institutions in the country. I congratulate you on your achievements and wish the university further success in its future endeavors. While thinking about today's event, I have been asking myself as to what is it that the young graduating students may like to hear on a day of personal triumph, rejoicing, and celebration. I initially thought that I could engage you on some esoteric scholarly theme or expose you to some facets of my current research activity. But on some reflection, I considered it appropriate to surf a broader horizon and dwell upon a mix of issues that may sensitize you and help calibrate your mindset as a citizen and provoke new thoughts and ideas as you contemplate on your future directions. I intend to make 6 points, and each one of them I will dwell somewhat briefly. The first point I wish to make is about our 3D strengths. The 3Ds stand for democracy, diversity, and demography. I believe that understanding of these 3D strengths by every young Indian is absolutely essential if we have to harness advantage India in the 21st century. Let me remind that ours is a remarkably young country, with 54% of the population below the age of 30 years, and a median age is around 25 years. As a nation, this makes us almost a generation or more younger than the countries with which we have to compete in the 21st century, and the resulting demographic dividend in the form of renewable human resources is destined to be our great asset. Despite our breathtaking human, geographic, and cultural diversity, we as a nation of 1.2 billion people have an enviable record of living in peace and harmony under a democratic polity. India is a vast reservoir of young, talented human capital, nurtured in free democratic traditions in an accommodative and inclusive environment. Thus, in a rapidly globalizing, knowledge and technology-driven world, our aspirational generation, like yours, has myriad opportunities waiting. Learn to recognize them, grab them, and ascend to reach the top. While we do so, it is important to ensure that none amongst us misses out an opportunity and that no opportunity is frittered away. Let me reiterate and highlight the fact that India is a unique melting pot of contrasts and colors, where past, present, and future, sometimes separated by over a century, coexist in a complex social milieu, and we justifiably celebrate our diversity, our unity in diversity. Let me try and capture some of the socio-economic contradictions in our midst that we seem to embrace so uniquely. We see them, we assimilate them, but we seem to do not enough to mitigate them. India figures third on the Forbes list of billionaires in the world, but India ranks 134th in the UNDP Human Development Index. We have a burgeoning middle class of 300 million, but harbor majority of world's poor. We are projected to have the largest English-speaking population in the world, but we are home to majority of world's illiterate persons. Some of our prestigious institutions produce graduates who are sought world over, but we also produce millions of graduates who are largely regarded as unemployable. We have over 900 million cell phone users, but only a fraction of our fellow citizens have access to the essentials of life, like safe drinking water and sanitation. We can launch high-technology Agni 5 missile and send an exploratory mission to the moon, the famous Chandrayaan, but can't provide our girl child a toilet in the school. We are the inheritors of the legacy of Buddha and Gandhi, yet unacceptable levels of violence and corruption plague us. If we have to harness and benefit fully from our 3D advantage of diversity, democracy, and demography that I have just referred to, the contradictions which exist in our midst and often referred to as the divide between India and Bharat will have to be bridged effectively and expeditiously. It is my firm belief that your generation has the sensitivity, ability, and capacity to drive our destiny towards a just and sustainable future. Fashion your thoughts and train your mind to help achieve this objective. The second point I wish to make is to exhort you to learn to dream big, challenge the impossible, gear to harness the power of your creativity and passion. In the dynamic world of 21st century, Time domains and geographies are rapidly shrinking, but knowledge and innovation spaces are expanding, and competition is at its vanguard. In such an idea-driven, competitive world, good is not simply good enough. I must repeat it again. Good is not simply good enough. Even better is not enough. Only better than the best will make the great. Thus, as you surf the limitless horizon of possibilities, set ambitious goals and aim for the impossible. American thinker Mark Twain said a century ago, and I quote, "They did not know it was impossible, so they did it." Today, myriad innovative possibilities fundamentally challenge the dogma of impossibilities. All historical experiences confirm the truth that man would never have attained the possible unless time and again he has reached for the impossible. So my young friends, dream big. Remember the common saying that one who has not dreamt never did anything worthwhile in life. And to realize your dreams, invent your own unique sense of purposefulness that is a blend of your ambition, passion, and creativity. As you dream big, it will always help to be mindful of the prevailing context, environment, and opportunities. Do also remember that dreams are not always realized easily. Thomas Edison's edict that success is 90% perspiration and 10% inspiration is fundamental for success and achievements in every endeavor. In your journey of life, be resolute and never be afraid of failures and adversity. Indeed, adversity and failures tend to fuel ideas and creative expressions as on the strength of passion, grit, and determination. There are many examples of crafting success in adversity. One can draw from our myths to inspire and motivate the young generation. Let me start with the example of Oscar Pistorius, and I'm sure many of you have heard the name of Pistorius. The South African sprinter who represented their country in 400 meters race at this year's London Olympics. What was so special about Pistorius? He had no legs and ran on his two amputated legs. So you can think participating in Olympics, 400-meter race, running it in 45 seconds by a person who had no legs. Take the example of Matt Stutzman, a member of the United States archery team at the recent Olympics. And you know that archery is the skill of propelling arrows, firing arrows. What is special about him? He's an armless archer who has no hands. He fires arrows from his legs. These are examples of passion, grit, and determination in physical endurance. Let me turn to passion in creative endeavors. Remember the iconic musician Beethoven, and I'm sure many of you have heard Beethoven's symphonies because it represents immortal music. Beethoven was able to compose his best symphonies after he turned stone deaf. These compositions are better than those composed by him when he could hear. How does a deaf man compose music? It is a feat that defies conventional logic and wisdom. A recent example of triumph in adversity through innovative surge and passion is of Steve Jobs. Although stricken by a deadly pancreatic cancer, the inventor of iPod and iPhone went on to develop and introduce iPad and iCloud, which are already runaway successes. As you draw inspiration from these examples of extraordinary success in adversity and craft your own path, remember, India is a place to do that. I like to recall what Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel had said about our country, and I quote, "There is something unique in this soil which despite many obstacles has always remained the abode of great souls." On your way to success, never deviate from the core human values of tolerance, non-violence, pluralism, integrity, and a commitment to sustain the environment. The third point I wish to make is to exhort you to be a lifelong learner and try to establish synergy between learning and skills. It has been said that an educational system isn't worth a great deal if it teaches young people how to make a living but doesn't teach them how to make a life. This means that education, particularly at university level, should facilitate a holistic understanding of the milieu in which one lives, grows, discovers purpose, and of course carve out a successful career in an increasingly seamless world. To help realize such an ambition, everyone should strive to be a lifelong learner and develop ability to harmonize hard learning with soft skills. Today, technology has enabled learning anything at any time and anywhere basis. This also means that each learner should judiciously blend essential, formal, program-based learning with curiosity and need-based learning. A national aspiration that every graduate of our country should not only have disciplinary knowledge but also be armed with a set of core competencies and switchable skills is the need of the hour. Acquiring skills in numeracy, which means quantitative and analytical thinking, language, communication, and networking, human relationships, accessing and managing information, often referred to as data mining, and imbibing the spirit of competitiveness and innovation, which means taking out of the box view of things, are necessary for successful careers in 21st century. This portfolio of core skills is a great enabler for employment, entrepreneurship, good citizenry, knowledge and wealth creation, and should be viewed as inherently complementary to learning for scholarship, disciplinary expertise, and intellectual enrichment. Thus, an objective shift in educational training and exposure, particularly from training for one or no career for life to training for lifetime of careers, is essential. It should equip, challenge, and motivate the young students to strive to excel beyond their own expectations. The fourth point I wish to make is to encourage you to prepare for the new learning paradigms. You must be already aware that a new paradigm in knowledge transmission is evolving through digital learning and is destined to revolutionize university education. There are even concerns expressed about the future role of the universities, and some are even talking about the end of the road for the universities. We need not be too alarmed by such forebodings, but must prepare ourselves to adapt to a culture of integrating and harmonizing web-based learning with classroom interactions. This calls for a pedagogical shift with regard to the teaching and learning processes and redefinition of the role of a teacher. The teacher in the future will have to be more of an enabler and a motivator with focus on how to learn and what to learn rather than be a mere transmitter of facts and knowledge. Universities aspiring to remain relevant and in the forefront of our higher education system must prepare for this impending change. National Knowledge Work Network, an ambitious and far-sighted initiative of the Government of India, has provided enabling connectivity to all our college-level institutions and universities and is a great resource available to young students. Many advanced learning platforms under the National Mission on Education through Information and Communication Technology are now in public domain and readily accessible. Our own national learning platform, Sakshat, is getting enriched and is poised for a makeover. An affordable and indigenously produced access device, Akash, has recently been launched and many comparable tablets are now available and they should be great facilitators of learning processes. Make use of them, make use of these new tools to maximize and broaden your learning horizon, particularly during your college years. The fifth point I wish to make is surf the cross and interdisciplinary terrain and value synergies through collaborations. And I'm going to illustrate this through several examples. There is increasing pressure to relate new knowledge and research to the needs of the society, marketplace, and issues related to sustainability. This would require increasing engagement with emerging challenges that humankind faces related to energy, environment, health and human well-being, and of course, in the context of our country, the challenge of poverty. It is becoming quite apparent that no single discipline or country is adequately equipped to tackle major global challenges, although there will always be some local context to every major problem. Thus, teamwork, collaborative efforts, working through large networks, and seamless interdisciplinary efforts will be central to tackling emerging social and scientific problems. This also applies to learning processes. Recent research at Durham University in UK has shown that collaborative and participative learning in different classroom environments is more effective than simple learning. I want to give you another example. Many of you must have heard about the recent claim about the discovery of Higgs boson, which is popularly referred to as God particle. And it is called God particle because it can unravel the mystery of the universe. And this discovery has been made by an organization called CERN, C-E-R-N, which is a European consortium for research in nuclear sciences. The point I wish to make is that this consortium which discovered this God particle involved 8,000 scientists from 113 countries and 600 universities from across the globe participated in this project. So I'm simply telling you that large networks and collaborations to tackle and solve major global challenges is the way forward. Let me also take a few minutes to delve on the question, how do we inculcate and nurture the spirit of interdisciplinarity? You know, everybody talks about interdisciplinarity, but very few people either understand or practice interdisciplinarity. So what is interdisciplinarity? Simply put, it is about the ability and inquisitiveness to look around and not just be unidirectional and straight-jacketed. Sniff around the different disciplinary flavors and learn the art of blending them. Embrace change in research direction and scholarly pursuits at every stage in your career. As you walk the interdisciplinary space, you will encounter flashes of new ideas and inspirations to change course or glimpse at a new horizon. History is full of such instances, and let me recall some of them for you, which I am sure you will find them very inspirational. Leonardo Vinci the famous painter and artist of the Renaissance era, was actually an engineer. Like many of you, he has a degree in mechanical engineering. And he also designed many machines and even constructed the first submarine. But at some stage in his life, his inner stirrings made him change course, and he became the legendary artist and a painter. He gave up engineering because he discovered within himself that he wants to be a painter and artist, and you know that he is iconic painter and artist. I want to give you another example. Harold Warmus, the famous virologist who received 1989 Nobel Prize for the discovery of cancer-causing proto-oncogenes, was actually working for PhD in English literature at Harvard University. Person who was registered for a PhD degree in English literature at Harvard University decided to change course, studied molecular biology, discovered proto-oncogenes, won Nobel Prize, and even today is regarded as the world's most influential biologist. Our own Indian origin scientist, Venki Ramakrishnan, trained as a physicist, researched in biology, and won the 2009 Nobel Prize in chemistry. Professor C.V. Raman began his career as an assistant auditor general and carried out part-time research at the Indian Association for Cultivation of Science in Kolkata. So from an auditor to world's leading scientist to win a Nobel Prize. Albert Einstein's early moorings were as a patent clerk in Switzerland. Einstein started his career. He didn't go to college. After high school, he became a clerk and joined the patent office in Zurich in Switzerland. And you know, he became an iconic scientist. These few examples reinforce my belief that certain amount of philandering across disciplines, fueled by certain level of intellectual promiscuity, is a healthy trait and can yield rich and unexpected dividends. To all of us present here who are stakeholders in higher education, and the plea is to try and restore the societal esteem for our universities and educational institutions. Universities and higher education institutions hold the key to building the India of tomorrow, and they must be viewed as the repositories of a nation's scholarly and intellectual wealth and as providers of competitive edge in the emerging knowledge society. However, in order to deliver on such expectations and ambitions, the universities and higher education institutions must continue to reform, restructure, and rejuvenate. Our universities must be the torchbearers for creating a national appreciation for innovation, entrepreneurship, and creative processes, and for restoring the primacy of education in the cherished values and priorities of our society. To achieve such an ambition, higher education institutions need to rediscover the tradition of independence, commitment, and accountability. University must ascend in public esteem. Being in the academic arena for a long time, I do realize that the ground realities are sometimes excruciating and awesome. But it is no use sheltering behind the often repeated argument that universities only mirror whatever is happening in the rest of the society. Why can't higher education institutions model themselves as the agents of change? Why not inculcate the values, spirit of inquiry and learning that will transform and cleanse the society of many of its ills and provide an ambience where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, to recall Gurudev Tagore's immortal composition, so that scholarship can flourish in our universities and intellect can serve the blue sky and academicians can freely glimpse the world of seamless knowledge. Finally, as I end my address, let me tell you what I am witnessing from this podium is really a spectacular sight on this very pleasant, lovely evening. And I must compliment Dr. Patel and all the members of the university community for organizing this event, particularly the pageant that this convocation represents in a most efficient and spectacular manner. My dear graduate students, I implore you to set new benchmarks in scholarship, values, and service to the nation and humanity. I thank you all for your patience with me and the university and the president and other authorities for the opportunity. May God bless us all. Thank you.